It's much easier, as you probably know, to update the transcript every year instead of trying to remember everything when you have a junior in high school that's applying for colleges or a senior that's applying for colleges.
I love that you were like the most unlikely homeschooler. Like I felt like I was an unlikely homeschooler getting into this, but I was 31 when my daughter was born, not 19. And one of my good friends, she was a very, very young mom. She was a teen mom, and she is one of the best homeschool moms, one of the best moms I probably have ever known. And so it doesn't even matter your age. It just matters whether or not you're willing to say yes, right? And answer this call that God puts on you. And God equips us to do what he's called us to do. So you've been doing this now for 15 years, and talk through kind of that, we're at the end of the year now, it's summertime. People are trying to figure out, how do I tie up the year academically? What do I do in the summertime? How do I plan for the next year? We have so many new homeschool moms who are listening to the podcast now, and they're just like, I don't know what to do. And maybe even moms who have never homeschooled, their kids are just going into kindergarten next year, and they just don't know what to do. And so I want to talk a little bit about organization. But first I want to focus a little bit on the end of the year. How do you tie up the end of the year when it's all said and done? You close out that grade and you're preparing to move on to the next year. How do you do that with your family?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that what I always do is, when it's fresh in my mind, when we've just finished our homeschool year, I like to do just a Word document, just a year kind of wrap up. So for each kid, or for however you want to structure it, I just write down books we read together, topics that we studied, field trips we went on, activities, accomplishments that the kids had, just anything that I really want to remember. Yeah. And it's a really good tool, because if you homeschool for a long time, or if you have a long stretch of kids, you do forget what you've done. And it's good. So right now with my fourth grader, I'm looking back at those sheets like, oh, that's right. I haven't done XYZ with her yet, like I did with my older kids. I kind of forgot about that. So that's a good thing that I like to use. It's a good tool. So I take that. I kind of call it my homeschool year wrap-up sheet. And I have one of those just for the whole homeschool year. And at the end of the homeschool year, I also like to, if you have a high schooler, to update their transcript. Mm-hmm. It's much easier, as you probably know, to update the transcript every year instead of trying to remember everything when you have a junior in high school that's applying for colleges, right. Or a senior that's applying for colleges. It's really hard to remember all the courses that they took and the credits and everything. And sometimes they need those for jobs. So it's good to have that ready to go, so you can print it out and, just have it at the ready. So that's the other thing that I do. And then I'm not a big saver. I don't save a ton of the work, but I do like to put together just a really simple portfolio for each of my kids. Maybe they did a lap book, maybe they wrote some really good reports, or maybe they have like some artwork that they did that was really special. And I'll just toss like a lot of the stuff that's just everyday, mm-hmm. stuff that's not super important, but I'll take a handful of those really good work to kind of create a portfolio. And it's nothing fancy. I just take a 12 by 18 sheet of construction paper and I fold it in half and I put those papers in there, and then I just tie them up with a string. And then I have a tote for each of my kids. And I just kind of file them in there. And I use a tote just because there's like file folder boxes that would maybe be a little better space-wise, but I like the totes because my kids, they a lot of times will use a binder, and those get kind of chunky. And so a tote mm-hmm. is really nice for that. So I just kind of file it in. So they each have first, second, third, and on. So that's a really handy thing to do too. So if you ever need to find something, you just go grab it out of there. And then I also take that time to purge things too, like purge the bookshelves, clear away the old, just the old supplies and stuff, just to kind of have a clean slate. And then I can go enjoy summer and the schoolroom is clean and the school cabinet's all cleaned out and cleared out. And those things that were fresh on my mind at the end of the homeschool year are recorded, and it all just kind of feels organized to kind of wrap it all up.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.